Hello. What's up, people? What's up, Eddie? Good evening, Eddie, the endgame magician. Ugh. What's up, Tim? Michael Drew, what's up, buddy? Thanks for the resub. 3 years, Michael. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Zooted, Kingly Bingley, Fish, Nova, and Gimmick, what's up? Lucheco, yes, boys. 9-month resub. 3 of the best. Oh, I think we can do a bit better in the next 3, Michael. We'll see what we can do. Trying to get off to a good start today. Algu, thanks for the 7-month resub as well. Today is the day of resubs, you know? We got to get back over 4,000 subs. Now, an important day is coming in about a week where we want you guys to be subbed on Kick. So seeing that sub number go down is not the worst news. Not at all. If we can get everyone subbed on Kick, hey, that's the dream, baby. That's the dream. We're D-Day is coming on June 1st with Twitch. But nevertheless, your primes, that's only for sub gifts. Your primes, all that stuff. We want your primes here. There ain't no primes on Kick. We want your prime subs. This is the only place you can spend them. Hello, CM Serious. What does that mean? You got the snip today? Is that a Jewish reference? I'm assuming you didn't get a haircut. Which snip are you talking about? Ah, the other one. The other one. Oof. Wow, that's certainly a way to start the stream. CM Serious, I can tell you that the streams tomorrow and the day after will be pretty long ones. Eric's birthday was yesterday officially. Big Dale's birthday is actually this week as well, for those that don't know. So usually it's a little more fun to pick a day that's in between both of them and celebrate it all together. So that's why I didn't stream yesterday. Eric is getting back from Norway tonight, so he'll be back around tomorrow and the day after. He stayed an extra day in Norway. So yeah, we'll probably have like a Friday and Saturday streams this week to celebrate Eric's birthday and Dill's birthday together. So that's the plan. That's why I didn't stream yesterday. Hey, Bobby Blocks, how you doing, bud? Well, speedy recovery there, CM Serious. Thanks for the 17 months tier 2 there, Bobby Block Body. Hey, what's up, Rook Roller? I thought we'd start with some bullet habits. We have our good friends, God bless them, at Chess TV. Thank you to Chess TV. Low Benjamin. Hey, Hoot. Gary the G-Pon. I am doing well. B-Con, can your Celtics just lose, for crying out loud? Can they just lose so that I have a chance at beating you in our underdog pool? I don't need this from you right now. Happy birthday, Sub Bomb. Platinum Blonde. Another 50 bomb. Platinum, I just want to let you know, I mean, the support from Latin and Blonde, I mean, it always means a lot. It's really unparalleled. It's been this way for a while. So I thank you every single time, Latinum. But I do feel obliged to inform you that your quick Cincos lately, they've had an extra digit at the end. And I just want to let you know that there's a 0 at the end of these 5 gifted subs. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I just thought I'd let you know. Because his quick Cincos are hitting a little heavier than usual. Thank you, Latinum. Like I said, yeah, Eric's coming back tonight, so he'll be back in Canada, back in the house tonight, and then Big Dill's birthday, Eric's birthday. We'll probably do some streams like Friday, Saturday, some late ones to celebrate. So hope you'll be around for that, Latinum. Thank you very much for the 50, though. I'll let him know. I'll actually let him know right now. 50 subs for you from Big Latinum Blonde, buddy. There we go. Oh, that's great, Latinum. And it's only just started. I mean, you're having that much success, having just looked at the first couple episodes. I mean, that's great. There'll be more coming on YouTube and on Twitch. Thanks very much for the 50, Latinum. As I've been saying, Bullet Habits, I think, is where we're going to start today. Might do some slow games after. I'll be here for a couple hours today. I'll be streaming a lot more in the next week and then all of June. But the last week or even couple of weeks, I've haven't put as many hours in as I'd like to. So I'll be streaming a bit more. Yeah, I thought we'd do some slow chess after this, but start out with some Bullet, get loose, get the blood flowing. Yes, JX Crow, that's 100% correct. Hello, Darkbone. Good to see you, buddy. Let's jump into our games here. 1 minute, no increment. See how our habits are doing. But longer streams for the next couple days. Yeah, Friday, Saturday. Planning some longer ones. You dare me to start 1F4? Hey, we got a speed run for that. If you're looking for games with 1F4, boy, do we have a speed run for you. There's already an episode released on our YouTube channel about it. Free Fly Skydiver. Thank you for the gift. It's up. All right, let's go for the first game here. Doing a lot of hovering. Whoa! Speaking of F4, I think I told you guys I like to play this knight move. I know it looks crazy to put the knight on the side of the board, but it's just a line that I feel like has been working pretty well for me. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Really want him to play H3, you know? This is a very helpful move for me. I'll just keep it simple. This is an escape square, but it also guards my knight. And now I guess we take. And he plays here. Because if my knight moves, he takes my pawn. But you know what's interesting? This isn't actually checkmate. It's just the pawn. You know? You think that it's a big scary move, But if I'm getting a whole piece for that, I'll do it every time. Not actually as scary as you might think. Okay. You want to give me a free knight as well? That's fine. Double the rooks. I mean, at this point, I'm just taking everything. Everything's free. Remember, I mean, this is not actually making any threats there. We're just walking in and checkmating. I mean, Queen F7, King H8. It's kind of like my opponent thought that this might be mate or something. He was doing it nonstop. Queen F7. He offered up mate to get it there. He offered up a piece to get it there. It's just a check. It's just a check. Not gonna be that scared. GG. It's always nice to start off with a win, isn't it? We'll be hovering. Oh, okay. The Evans. Now, what's the thing that I do against the Evans? I usually take, I go back to E7, and then here I play kind of random looking move knight to A5. And the whole point is to hit the bishop. So you either, I mean, yeah, you either give me the bishop or you let me keep my pawn. One of those two things is going to happen. Guarding this pawn. And I do just have an extra pawn here. I'm just going to develop castle. Keep our habits going. Bishop E6. H6. And yeah, just bring the rooks to the middle here. Okay, he's giving me material. Let's keep it simple. Bring the rooks in. There we go. Maybe double up. Trying to keep it simple here. Let's go push. Push again. This may be the situation, by the way, where we might need to pull out the pre-moves. You know? Like, for example, here, what I might do, I'm not seeing him do anything that dangerous to me. You see, he's really starting to get the pre-moves going himself. He wasn't actually he wasn't actually doing anything there. I just think there are moments where you should speed up when you can tell your opponent's not doing anything. This guy was up to the task. He was pretty much just as quick as I was. But not everyone is gonna do that. Like when I started pre-moving here, yes, he could have played knight takes e5 at any point during all those pre-moves. Yes, he could have played queen takes b5. But ultimately, those are like pretty low probability moves. They're probably not going to happen. And once they do happen, what's the worst, right? I've got all my pieces on light squares here. The worst that can happen is maybe I lose a pawn and he gets out of the, like he escapes with it. That's it. That's it. That's not that bad. I'd much rather take the risk of pre-moving in this case. But, for example, if my rooks were on the d file like this, I would not like to pre-move here because I don't know when he's going to go knight e1 to hit my rook. I don't know when he's going to maybe throw this move in. I know this move is still low probability, but it's also very high risk for me because I'm going to potentially lose a queen. So once I put my queen on a light square and my rook's on light squares and bring my rook back from that square, it's easier for me to just make some random pre-moves. I'm not saying that's always the best strategy, but there are often positions where you're not really sure how to make progress, and in bullet you sit there trying to find out exactly what to do, and you end up using all your time. It's not really worth it. So much of bullet is making a mindless move to just pass the move to your opponent. So your opponent's time ticks instead of yours. Obviously, the better you get a bullet, the less mindless moves you make, or the better you get, the more you understand when you can actually make them. But I definitely think there are a lot of positions where low-rated players will just sit here in this position and be like, I don't know what to do. I can't, put my rook. It's like, no problem, dude. No problem. Just make a few pre-moves, right? Or look for ways to make your life easier. I think pre-moves are the easiest way. Now, you're going to get bitten by this a few times because, like I said, your opponent might see that you're pre-moving and be like, okay, this guy's pre-moving nonsense. I'm going to play knight takes e5. He's not going to see queen takes because he's pre-moving everything. And you're right. You might lose a pawn. You might lose a lot of material because you're pre-moving. But you're trying to pick the moments to pre-move when your pieces are kind of back safe in your position so that the risk is very, very low. Very, very low. All right. Let's continue. I just think that's a pretty easy thing to start adding to your bullet game. Not feeling compelled to come up with a perfect plan in every position. In blitz, in rapid, you definitely want to do that, but you really don't always need a plan in bullet. You really need to play quick in bullet. That's the main thing. So, as always, an average looking quick move is going to be much better than a, slower perfect move. Because you're not going to be playing perfect moves every single move in bullet. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. So, don't stress about finding the absolute best move in every position. If you're on a king hunt, maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's important, but otherwise, just get some move on the table. And Jolly, thanks for the 10 months. Does it help playing bullet for playing faster and rapid? I mean, yes, obviously. Playing bullet will always help your general speed. I think that goes without saying. JX Crow, $20. That should cut the difference of Twitch shenanigans for a while. You're absolutely right, JX Crow. Not to be underestimated. Small gesture goes a long way. Thanks for the $20, JX Crow. Tiny Young Dave, 29 months, tier 3. Appreciate you, Dave. Cheers, buddy. Pink Floyd, thank you for the 100 bits. Malcolm Blaney, 6 months with Prime. Welcome back, Malcolm. See you, Gantran. Thanks for stopping by. All right, rant over. Let's go to the next game. I just think more people should be less concerned about finding the best move or finding a plan in bullet and more concerned about moving quickly. All right. Maybe queen e2? No, let's keep it simple. He's attacking my pawn. It's like I really want to play d4, not this. I'll take with a knight. Trades are always good. Trades are always good. Pieces into the middle. Once you're past that, I guess, maybe more basic level of habits, then you're never really super interested in giving away bishop for knight. just randomly. But if it happens, it happens. Whoa! Okay. So he can get out of this. But does he have the foresight? I have a feeling we may be entering one of my favorite positions, which is the losing position, except knight against bishop. This is my favorite position. It seems like it's bad, but it's knight against bishop, so there's always a chance. Ah! It's like in tennis. You hit a better shot if you make a noise. I played tennis over the last weekend and had a much better percentage of good shots when you just make just that noise after you make a move. I think it, some people say it doesn't affect the quality of your moves, but I think it does, personally. It was a weak grunt. Oh, but wild hacks, you have to look at the things that are being hit back to me, right? This is my position and this is my opponent's position. You shouldn't have to grunt very hard to hit a good shot in this position. If it was a more competitive match, then I would probably need a much better grunt in order to produce just as good of a move as is being thrown back at me. But as we can see here, a weak grunt is all that's needed to produce an adequate move. That's right, Mike. We've crested 1900 here in our Bullet Habits series. I mean, 2000's always a nice number, isn't it? Isn't it? Olik, thanks for a year with with Prime, but that's tier 3. Thanks, Olik. Dershgalot, thanks for the Prime sub. Hello, Hugh. Did he end top 3? I don't think he did. No. He ran out of juice, exactly. Thanks, Jammy Jam 88 for the Prime for 9 months. Welcome back. You're a marshal? Does that mean, like, you're working the event, Jammy Jam? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is trying to remember. There's one of the competitors is also a SlowBrah viewer. One of the guys that's I think playing in the event. And so we went. I think we went. Was it last year? Yeah, we went last year, I think, and checked it out. I've never actually been to a golf course, like I guess a professional tournament golf course. I mean, it looked beautiful. What the hell? It was gorgeous. I've obviously been on a golf course before, but I don't know. This was like next level. Yes, jamming jam. Exactly. It's exactly him. That's right. So yeah, that's a cool connection. We got a marshal there. We got someone on the course. We're gonna have SlowBrahs at every level of security. When is the heist? But definitely thinking about it, Jamming Jam. It would definitely be cool to go to a golf event with some level of access. Sitting on like the 18th hole and waiting for people to finish up their rounds. Pretty cool. I didn't realize what went into the spectating process in golf. It's quite involved when you actually see it in person. Let's continue. Okay, e4 here. We're probably going c3, d4. Now d5 is a little weird because, I mean, if we're pushing around his pieces at the start, I mean, look, right? It's move 8. And what pieces do we have developed if we're black? Pretty much nothing. Wants to go b5, I guess we'll stop it. Developing. Let's put a rook here. Makes sense. I guess he has a little bit of trouble developing his pieces in this position. Like, yeah, I don't know. That bishop has certainly taken its time developing, that's for sure. Pawn is attacked. Okay, I'll defend it. I'll defend it. Let's double the rooks. Ooh. I guess we're both gonna take rooks. Knight e4, I was about to say, would be a very nice move to play. Very nice move, because I get my favorite position. Remember I was telling you about my favorite position? You see all these light squares? Oh, he stuck his king in. Damn it. Oh. Now we're going to have to win the lame way. I should play g4 first. I was enjoying the position too much. But truly, these positions where you have knight against bishop, in some kind of bullet endgame, you put all your pawns on the opposite color. I should have played g4 to firmly illustrate what I was talking about. But I was so excited that I finally had the position, I forgot to play it. But yeah, you put all your pawns on light squares, and then you can just kind of pre-move a little bit in circles, or pre-move your knight back and forth or something. It's just very comfortable. Very comfortable. So whenever you get a knight against bishop position in bullet, I always get the feeling, even if I'm down a pawn or something here, I always get the feeling that it's like intrinsically winning. So put your pawns on light squares. I should have probably put that one there. And then you can usually just pre-move a bunch of moves, all on light squares, of course, the opposite color of the bishop. And you'll have a pretty easy time flagging. Thanks, PowerNet429 for the 7-month Prime. And again, Jammy Jam, thanks for the 9 months, dude. Can I take the pawn? Well, Mike, I mean, you're talking to someone who's been pre-moving the entire time. The whole point of playing with less than 5 seconds is not to wait for your opponent to move and then see what they did and then decide what the best move is and then make that move. I mean, that'll take like 2 seconds. You're only going to be able to do 2 or 3 of those moves. The point is you want to make moves that can be played regardless of what your opponent does. Good pre-moves like that. And like all the light square moves that I've been talking about. Because I can do those moves no matter what move my opponent does. So singling out one position during a time scramble and saying, well, actually, shouldn't you do this? Well, actually, the pawn was hanging. It's like, no, you're never going to be a good bullet player if that's the way you analyze your bullet games. Going into your time scrambles and say, oh, I missed the free queen. Damn, if I just took the free queen, then I would have won the game. It's like, anyone who analyzes bullet like that, for sure will never, ever be a good player in bullet chess. And it's fine. Maybe they're more suited to a longer game. But for bullet, you definitely have to... you have to be thinking about the clock. If you're always in a position to catch your opponent's mistakes, then it means you're not pre-moving enough. Hello, Mr. Pink Floyd. Thank you for that 100 bits. Quiet before the Vegas storm. I'm ready for it, buddy. I'm ready for it. I don't know when the game is tonight, but usually 8 or 8:30. So I think I'll be streaming until about then as well. What's the best way to study tactics? That's a great question to ask during a Bullet Habit series. All right, next game. Okay, we'll go with this 2 knights. Yes. Knight here. Oh, uses the other knight. Smart guy. Hit the bishop. I think I'll put my... Oh. Interesting. So we have the bishop pair here. I don't know how valuable this is, but always like to have the bishops. Okay. Whoa, that's hyper aggressive. Check. I mean, should I fall for it? I think I'll fall for it. Fall for it is like kind of an expression I use when someone does a move that I presume to be very bad. And of course, I'm gonna fall for it by making the move that they basically want me to make. So it's like here, it's like you wanted to do this. So I'll fall for it by letting it happen, right? And now I can take it. I like falling for it sometimes. Let's go here. Can maybe run away like that. Unfortunate. It's rather unlucky for my my French buddy here. He's had luckier days, that's for sure. He's had luckier days. Oops. This was a nice opening, but it got a little convoluted, you know? Got a little convoluted. I think it was all from this move by him. This knight f6. As soon as he didn't fall for mate, we were screwed. We had nothing to do. Ooh. E5 is interesting because I can still play this, right? Okay, I think I'm aware what he's doing here. Let's go here. Develop our knight. I think the most important thing to do is get castled in this spot. There we go. F4 looks like a little much. Don't really like allowing that. Knight F3, just like an easy move. Rook E1. Okay, I guess we could take. May as well. Bring the pieces into the middle. You're literally forcing me to take it. I didn't ask for this. I didn't sign a contract that said you were going to blunder your queen after that opening. But I'll take it. Quite literally forced me. I wasn't prepared for this. I was planning to just beat down a pawn, even time, maybe go for a flag. But okay. All right. Exactly. I fell for it. I fell for it, allowing this move. Damn it. Okay. Knight there. Let's get h6 in. I'm going to take everything in front of me. All right. We lost the pawn in the process there. That's okay. Bring the rook in. Bring the knight in. And I suppose with the two bishops, I probably want to keep them as opposed to trading. Jack. Maybe like this. I don't know. I feel like I kind of want another open file, you know? Well, that's kind of annoying. Whoa. What the hell? Jeez, that's annoying. Holy smokes. All right. That was a weird board thing. Does anyone else do that sometimes? Hate that. It's so annoying. You're like trying to grab something like, I don't know, rook on a8, rook on h1, whatever it is. And you like resize the board. The thing is when you do it, it's like annoying, but essentially irrelevant. When I do it, I have a slight extra obligation to fix it immediately because then all of a sudden the stream display is completely messed up. So it's even worse for me. But yeah, that's always annoying. You love making the board 10 times smaller? Yeah, I think that's why they added it, so that it was nice and easy for you to do. Simster4444, thanks for the 13 months, Simster. I don't think so, Matrix. I don't think so. But again, like, how many sites are there to play chess on versus how many, you know, sites are there to play poker on. It's probably a little lopsided in your direction. I do play on with a small board. When I'm playing bullet, this is what it looks like. I recommend it. Thank you, Simster. The 5 subs as well. Hey, really appreciate that, man. Getting subbed. Some gifted subs as well. I went over how, like, yeah, when you're playing bullet chess, I definitely think you set yourself up for success by using a smaller board. Because, I mean, it's just simple, basic math, you know? The mouse just has to travel less distance rather than going from, like, the bottom of the screen all the way up. So it just has to travel less distance, so you should naturally be faster. But, yeah, even still, like, you could still end up dragging the board. How do you get the black background? Just upload a custom background. It's worth it, in my opinion. I just think all black everything is nice contrast with the board and keeps it nice and minimal, nice and simple. Now that's right, Venus. No mobile bullet, that's for sure. You need your pre-moves. Absolutely, 100%. Park Faisal. Why, thank you. That means a lot. Party in Atlanta tonight. What's going on in Atlanta? What's happening? 69 months from Frank Rutten. Nice. Nice. Dankjewel, Frank. You made it to the most important resub date. Oh, remember this one. Usually when people do this, I'm basically ready to pre-move. No. Well, that one would have hurt. Okay. I'm not sure that it actually prevents me from doing this, so I'm going to do it anyway. I suppose we take. Oh, that's probably not the move. Maybe bishop or king takes, and then it would have been defended. Oops. A lot of stuff might find itself hanging soon. This one gets mated in 2. That would certainly be nice. Danny tweeted Celtics in 7. Didn't Danny also tweet that the Suns were gonna win this year? Damn. It's only a bullet game. Ah, feels bad. He'll be back. Sometimes, you know, the most effective rage quits. You know, our good friend Hickey, what he used to do, he would lose a game. Maybe let the time run to 0, whatever, or he would just disconnect before the game ended, so it would automatically, like his game would automatically lose because the time would just run out while he's offline. And then he would be gone for about 2 minutes. And then he would log back on and just start another game. This was the Hikaru Nakamura of the ICC days. Internet Chess Club. So for sure, like, you know, this is in the 7, 8, 10 year ago era. This is that was a classic Hickeyism. He just logs off, almost like 2 minutes to compose himself, and then he comes back on. And it's as if the previous loss never happened. All of a sudden, it's a new session. He did that against Firouzja yesterday. Who's Firouzja? Are you talking about Gucci Reza? Exactly, COVID. I think he's nothing like that anymore. Precisely. Would be impossible. Well, that's what I've been saying, cheese. That you don't want to sit there contemplating a good move for too long. You'd rather just get a move out. Anything. Okay. The 2 knights. We've been doing this one. You know, I always like to play a little bit slower and then hit them with that pre-move, but nowadays, less and less people fall for that. Do you remember back in the day when they all used to fall for it? It's just not happening anymore. I don't know what it is. Everyone's wise to it now. All right. Let's bring all the... Maybe we'll play an endgame here. Oh, I wanted to play real endgame with him. Oh, this is passive. Passive's not good usually. You usually want, instead of like, I attack something, you defend it. What you usually want is, I attack something, you give it up in order to attack something else. That's usually the best way to do it. Like this, for example. You know, somebody's getting attacked, I'm gonna go take something else, right? And everybody's taking stuff. This is exactly what it should be. So actually, this is a great example. Why am I okay pre-moving all these things? Because what's the worst thing that could happen? It's something like this. Now, if you're this guy, you're crazy because look, I have 3 seconds left. I'm probably not going to win this game. And then from his perspective, he goes through the, you know, the mental hardship, the absolute gall to play rook takes a4. That's a crazy move to play. But then, after he gets away with it, he just goes and makes a draw. Why does he take the rook? Right? Because usually you would expect to do this and then move your rook. And then go for a real win, right? Because he'd probably get the win as well. So I just don't get people that make the dirtiest move possible, get away with it, but then make a normal move. It's like, no, you gotta get away with it for real. You gotta actually get the win out of it. Rook takes b4 here. It doesn't make any sense. It's not in line. I don't understand it. I really don't. If he's desperate for the +2 elo and he wanted to draw, then you wouldn't need to play rook takes pawn. Like if he just gave some checks, moved the king, white's probably not winning that game. So that's what I mean is like, if you wanted to draw, he kind of already had it. So normally you would play that dirty move to go for something more than a draw, a win. But then he just goes for a draw straight away and kind of odd. Maybe he thought I wouldn't recapture the rook. Fair. Fair. Rook takes b4, king c5. Was definitely on the cards. Possible, possible. Well, he's denied us 1950, that's for sure. It weighed on his conscience. There's another way to look at it. Yeah, I like that one. I'll take the center. Okay. I'll let you take my bishop. H6. Now, are we both going to do the thing where we go checkmate each other? So he's doing it over here. I take. I move the knight. I defend the knight. And now, do I get to do it over here? Are there any mates for me? I'm a little frightened here. Can I go all in? I think we may find ourselves in just as much of an attacking position as my opponent. Here. I mean, I guess there's knight takes a2. Bishop f5 kind of looks nice. Jack. All right, well, looks like nobody has any attack. Wanna check him again. Check. Can we trade queens or something, dude? I'm gonna need a queen trade from you. Yeah, he couldn't give us that. It's bingo. I mean, the thing that makes time scrambles a lot easier, truly, is knight against bishop. I could be down maybe even like 2 more pawns and I would still be interested in trading rooks. Just because I know that, like, man, knight against bishop, there's never been a bigger hack to a bullet game than that. You just operate exclusively on the opposite color squares as the bishop. Always feels so good. Always works out really, really nicely. So I'm always on the lookout for positions where I can play knight against bishop. Or sometimes bishop against bishop. Bottom line is, like, having your opponent with a bishop as the very last piece usually feels very, very good. It's the most annoying one to have by far. Basmaniac, thanks for the 10 subs. Thank you, buddy. Making sure we're well over 4,000. Can't have the threes creep in. Ugh. Lifestyle creep in the wrong direction. Thanks very much, Basmaniac. Counterintuitive, Ashwin? Really? I mean, I don't know. Do people in the chat find bishops easier to use than knights? I agree, knights move a little trickier and they're harder to, like, predict or put on the right squares. But from your opponent's perspective, you also have to think that the exact same things apply to them. They don't know where your knight's going to end up. It could end up on any square. It can check, fork, jump around. The bishops are so easy to move for one side, but think of it from your opponent's perspective. They're so easy to anticipate. So you might be thinking to yourself, wow, it's so easy to move this bishop like that. But from my perspective, I'm thinking, okay, I can already see the only squares his bishops can move to. So I'm just going to stay on the opposite color and I can do whatever I want. So one is, like, maybe more difficult to operate, but more difficult for your opponent to anticipate. And then the other one is easier, but once again, easier for both sides. Okay. We'll go a6. Oh wow, we got some trade energy from our opponent here. It's okay. I can trade too. I don't mind myself a good trade. All right. Get out of here. Huh? All right, what did I what did I miss? I told him to get out of there and he got out of there. I said get out of there. He said, "Okay. That I can do." You know, it's a small request, but I can manage that. I don't know. This might be the key. When you guys are in the pool playing your games, you know, it's a little tip for Pass Maniac, for Latin and Blonde. Chat out there. Just start saying things like, dude, resign now. Or, okay, you can resign. Sack your knight, why don't you? You know, you got to will it into existence. Telling him to get out of here, you got out of here. He literally left. So that was great. Always inexplicable, but we'll take the rating where we can get it. No, this guy's not a paid actor. He's an unpaid actor. We know. We know that. All right. Ooh, fancy move, if I do say so myself. Just go knight in. This always feels good, you know. Okay, we'll take back. No problem. No problem at all. Remember, we haven't lost the game yet, so it's still a sacrifice. But we're getting there. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, I was hoping he wouldn't see that. Oh, this guy's too good. Too good. Maybe knight takes. Loses the bishop. He thinks knight takes because it's with check. Ah, we got him. We got him with a trick. There we go. All right, I'm easy. I'll go for a trade. Lots of pawns to take, but no, I'm a simple guy. I'll even trade into an endgame down a pawn. We're definitely down a pawn, right? At least down a pawn. Must be. He's got like all his pawns, right? he has to be ahead here. Go my pawns. All right, I'll go here to defend. Oh. Cut it out, bud. This guy. I'm telling you, he's something else. He's real sweaty with these moves. Tough opponents right now. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Bad chest, good vibes. Thank you for the 31 months. Cheers, Rebecca. Welcome back. Chess Bird, 70 months with Prime. Thank you, the Chess Bird. Funky Man says the opponent's profile picture is a child predator. And then he wrote the same message again. Funky Man 20. Do you recognize him? Is it you? How can you be so sure? Hey, Torcanito, thanks for the 6 months with Prime. Drip recognizes Drip. You're here at a good time, Rebecca. We're at 1968, so one of the worst ratings ever, knowing that it'll be impossible to hit 69. We'll play this because you can usually get a bunch of pre-moves in here fairly safely. Whoa. We got a big chief over here. Pawn takes, eh? All right. I'm going in. This pains me to do. Really pains me to do. G3, there's going to be one of the most... one of the quickest sacrifices that you've ever seen is about to happen. So we actually must, in this position, defend in a different way. If we play G3, you will have never seen a pawn disappear from the board so fast. Ever in your life. Check. Let's defend. And Queen F5 looks quite menacing. And well, here, it looks extra menacing. Particularly because it checkmates the king. Hang on a sec. I thought he was the one attacking. What the heck happened? How did that turn around? I thought he was the one mating me. Get him out of here? Yeah, it might work. If I just say it. Get him out of here. Wow, and he left. Amazing. Cool Guy, 2189. Thanks for the prime. 16 months from Cool Guy. Bad looks. Welcome back for 3 months. Wow, it really worked. Castling is for betas. Tier 3, 32 months. Thank you. Castling is for betas. They pop in buckets. Let's continue. Oh, coach. Not the coach. All right, coach. I see you, coach. Coach. Quit it. All right. We're gonna do some of that stuff. Knight on c5 can be removed from the premises. Okay, it's a surprising move considering I just played the knight there to actually stop it. Okay, I feel like although he's made a lot of moves that attack my rook, I'm not actually sure that any of them have helped. All I see are more weaknesses. Let's go here so that he goes like that. Oh, wow. That was a very good move. You see that? Instead of king e2? Amazing. All right, let's simplify this side of the board. This was a very good move. I'm impressed. All right. I just start moving the king. Very, very smart move, king e1 there. Hey, this guy's got some speed. Absolutely. I think if you're competing at 1900, you have to have the speed. But a lot of, we can't just go past this moment, right? We can't just zoom by it without giving the people what they want. No. That's the second time we've used the e6 square to trap one of his pieces. That's the nasty trap in this opening. Very easy to fall into. It was a little bit surprising to see his move order because it's something you have to watch out for even here. And I mean, even here, the move bishop f7 was playable instead of like this in particular is already like got to be careful territory. Because already if I go here, the king has to come to f6 and okay, white can play like knight d5 check, d4. So bishop f7 is already very good move. Here it's like good but not that good because of knight g5 there and then queen e8. The king will go back to g8. And it's good for white, but nothing special. But then now it's possible again. But it's particularly this knight on d7 with the queen. I mean, the queen is basically trapped. So if you could just place a knight there, it'd be game over. And no matter where the king goes, you're going there. But in the opening, it's already an issue. If you put the king here, you're losing the queen. And if you put the king here, something like knight check, I mean, king takes, pawn to d4 check. I mean, look, all these squares are covered. Right? So you literally have to go king h4. And, I mean, good luck trying not to get mated here. Right? It's just a guarantee. So that is pretty common tactic in the opening. I was nearly pre-moving here, so missed an opportunity to play already bishop takes f7, but he made the mistake multiple times. A lot of people play this opening. It's really not good for black. I'm surprised to see so many people playing it. I wonder, a3. b5 check. Because, like, I'm already taking it, and what, the king has to take? I mean, this should be basically a disaster. Oh, castle. I'm trying to, you know, prevent the rook from getting around the king, because then the king can walk into g8. But as you can see here, I mean, this is just a nightmare. It's going to be an open line to the king here, open line to the king here. You're never escaping stuff like this. The question is pretty much only where do we want to check the king from? Because it looks completely dead. I'll keep it simple and I'll take. Give another check here. I mean, I guess this is playable. Check. I mean, I mean, what are these moves? This should not be okay. This should not be okay. Right? You can just tell the the fact that the king has to take a step out in the opening is a disaster. This is a big no-no. A lot of people play this. I'm not really sure why. It's like they think it's an opening or something. But really, really common against c3. First of all, c3 works out really well in chess in general. It's a good move. Very strong Sicilian. Most people underestimate it. But in bullet it works out even better because people play quicker and they're not always catching that you're playing c3. Okay, so I take the center with d4. And of course, if you flip the board, it's like, whoa, that was not flip the board. That was like, what the hell is this? Jesus Christ. Okay, that That was like went on a spaceship to another dimension there. I think we clicked on focus mode or something. Jesus. Focus mode, theater mode. Get me out of these modes. I'm just trying to flip the board. Now, d5 is played because you're afraid of d5 from white. So you play this move, but then what happens is white hits your queen, and you don't even have bishop b4 to pin the knight, so you must move your queen. d5 happens anyway, but it's much worse now because white already has pieces out. And it's like, if you go back here or play like this, we already saw a game like this a couple games ago. This is a disaster. White has the center, owns so much space of the board, 2 knights out, and it's their turn. I mean, good luck. Good luck. So yeah, this is really bad. All right, this is a big game, as you know. All right, I'll play bishop d2. Some theory here. Okay. Suppose we'll attack the queen. If you move the bishop, then I think maybe worse things happen, but I guess I'm supposed to play knight h4 here. I'll play g3, which admittedly is a little bit more provocative. I think knight h4 might have worked, but it just looks like a weird move to play. g3, I know that, you know, once this knight moves, then I already have an escape square for my king mapped out. Okay. I guess we should move so that we're making a threat. It's gonna come down to speed here. Holy smokes. What was that move? 93. I like the creativity, honestly. He's like kind of forking my pieces there at the end. Still, it's a lot. Did he just trap his rook? Yes, he just trapped his rook. It's just a nice feeling whenever you get this. Like, whenever you get the king cut off by the rook, and the rook's protected. In this case, I brought my king up to protect it with my king so that I could move my pawn. Because if I move my pawn initially, of course, I'm going to lose my rook. I could have used this pawn to push and gone for the ladder like that. But it's equally fine to just push the king up the board. But if I go and make a queen right now, honestly, the reason I don't like doing this ladder technique is that the king can actually hide behind the pawn and be relatively annoying. So I thought the most important thing was just to establish this. Now the king is quite literally in a box that's that big. So now I know that I can just go make a queen and execute the ladder technique pretty quickly. Matthias B, thanks for 41 months. Here's Matthias. We did hit 2,000. So we finally deserve to play our first titled player. We deserve this. We've earned the right. Now we're in the big leagues, baby. Don't underestimate me here. I like the way he's playing so far. This one was hanging, but so was that, so kind of took the safer approach. Oh no. Oh no. Not that. Not that. Hey, welcome, Billy. What the hell? My man came in with a raid and a compliment. Can you guys do that too? When you guys resub, can you also resub with a compliment? You know how kind that is? No one ever does that. They resub and they say, I can't believe this thing is still running. Or, you know, why did I just resub to, what's her name? Tilda Swinton or something? It's like, great, thanks guys. Yeah, happy to have you here. Cheers, Billy. Thanks for the raid. Who's Tilda Swinton? This is back when I had my blonde hair. What was the pick? I'm trying to remember what the exact one was. Oh yeah, this is it. It was this. That's what I'm saying. Some people resub, and this is what they have to say. I was exposed to some TikToks recently, and they harped on the very important concept, which is on display right now. And you can already see that Billy has come in, you know, he's rated, and he said, you know what? Thanks for all the educational content, right? Appreciate you, buddy. And that's already resonated with me. I'm never going to forget that. You know, that was a really nice thing to say. And the TikToks that I was exposed to recently were on the subject matter of compliments towards men last forever. Compliments to women expire. They have an expiry date, usually of 24 hours. So you compliment a woman and you say, nice hair. You know, that shirt looks lovely. Then the next day, if you don't say it again, then she'll think it looks awful, or she'll think you didn't mean it the first time. You're going to need to say it one more time because your compliment from yesterday has already expired. It's now insufficient and it's useless, so you need to go do it again. But if you go up to a guy, and especially if a girl does it, oh my God, if a girl does it, we're in a different stratosphere. But if a guy gets a compliment like, oh, dude, that's a wicked shirt. I love that, man. Especially if a girl is like, I really like that shirt on you. Holy fuck. Number one, the guy will never forget it. Number two, that shirt is into top rotation and is being worn on every occasion. And that's probably like a legitimate story that might get shared with the bros. Like, man, I was walking down the street today. Somebody came up to me and said, nice shirt. I said, nice shirt? God damn. Like, that's a whole episode. That's a whole story. I could live my life. I would tell that story to my grandkids. I got a compliment today. Because they don't expire. Remember that for the rest of my life. Compliments to women, they expire for sure in 24 hours. For sure in 24 hours. Maximum. So I'd like to remind that to everyone. Guys do not get compliments as much as women. So deliver a compliment to a guy. I could be that guy for you. I could be the recipient of your nice compliments. They go a long way. Us gentlemen, we remember them for the rest of our lives. Never forget them. That's right, Matrix. You see? There's some inverse correlations there. Absolutely. This is a little bit scary to look at. We got to get this off the screen. I mean, off the screen for you guys. Obviously, I'm going to leave it open on my second monitor here and just stare at that image for the rest of the stream. Sarthis77, thanks for 23 months. Narf is 13 months with Prime. What was my blunder in this game? If I had to tell you. Maybe that. I don't know if that could be a blunder or a mistake. Maybe a mistake? So I feel like this is kind of not a great move because I should be taking the pawn. You know? Sometimes that's the way they do it. So maybe it's like a mistake. But which move would be a blunder? Just a straight up categoric blunder. Like there's always this and I can always take back. So I was never that scared of it. Maybe this move. This move is a blunder. Must be this. Knight f5 takes. The knight has to move and then queen takes b7. This move is a blunder. And I'll say that that move is a mistake. All right, that's my submission. How wrong are we? How wrong are we? This is trolling. I didn't even have a blunder. I didn't even have one. One blunder. No blunders. One blunder, no blunders. Miss. Dude, what do we miss? What do we miss? What do we miss? We missed bishop g4. Okay, it's the second best move. Relax. Inaccuracy. Holy smokes. Inaccuracy. Jesus Christ. Miss. Holy cow. These are harsh evaluations here. None of these moves are really bad. Just harsh evaluations. There we go. Well, at least I got c5 correct. Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't even know if any single one of those evaluations made any sense to me. What? My head hurts after reviewing the game. You guys have it easy. You guys don't understand the game analysis, so you see it, and God, I envy you. You see it, and you're just like, oh, I had a blunder. What was my blunder? Oh, that was my blunder. I should have done that. Oh, I had a good move. What was my good move? Oh, that was my good move. Awesome. There's no second guessing. Just to be so blissfully unaware. Wow, you guys really have it good. You guys really have it good. I look at the game review, I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with that. Really? A miss? You're calling that a blunder? That's not even a mistake. Why was that not a brilliancy? That's my experience with game review. All right, let's play a few more games. These are just for fun. We're gonna play some slow games, right? I said we'd do some slow games. Slow chess today. We're a learning channel, and especially since Billy came in and complimented us on how much he's been learning from the SlowBrah channel, especially the YouTube, we're gonna now use that compliment to fuel ourselves and do some learning, because that's what we do here. We help people. That's how we get compliments. We farm them through the educational content. It's very important to keep that up. Holy smokes. It's like no regard for the poor bishop. God damn. Whoa. I mean, you're going to run out of pieces to checkmate me with, buddy. What's the big idea here? Okay, so you're saying that in this position, you're going to mate me with just the queen. It's like, some people, the audacity, the goddamn audacity. It's actually going to be you who's getting mated, sir. I'll have you know. God. I mean, okay. That was a stunning attack. Stunning. All right, I'll play a rematch. One for the road. He sacrificed so many pieces, I don't think he had any left to checkmate me with, which was kind of not really what was supposed to happen there. Okay. So now that's a threat. So you got to move another knight again. This guy's going to be spending his whole game moving knights, poor guy. We've got the pawn diamond. Feels like something Hikaru would say. No? That feels like a Hikaruism. Like whenever the pawns look a certain way, they'll just like come up with a name for them that feels like something like another name for a Star Wars character. Like, and right here we have the Diamond Aphrodite. Diamond Aphrodite, you guys. Like, just any shape that appears on the board gets a name. I'm going all in. All in. All right, I got my queen trade. I can die happy. Woo. Oh, this is nice. Nice of him to walk into mate for me. Peter Tija, 31. Thanks for the 45 months. Thank you, Peter. Cheers, buddy, and welcome back. Billy, thanks for the resub. I say resub because I'm thanking you in advance for your second month when you come back and do it again next time. It's always good to have positive reinforcement. You know, when someone comes in and subs, don't thank them for what they've already done. Thank them for what they're going to do for you later. I'm really looking forward to that second month from you, Billy. Imeno, thanks for the 15 months, pal. All right, enough bullet. I've hit 2,000. I think it's a reasonable place to stop. For now. Bullet habits, we'll leave it at 2K. Yeah. We're getting slow, we're getting old. It's time for slow and old chess. We're gonna play some rapid games with hopefully some explanations that matter and mean something to you. Might teach you a thing or two about the openings, and you guys can feel free to suggest the openings that we play. So, I will take just a short break to switch accounts. But let me know what openings you guys would like to see, because we're gonna play some rapid games. I'll be right back. Hello. All right, we're back. Did you miss me? We're gonna play some slow games today. Some rapid games. 15 minutes, 10-second increment. You know the drill. I hope you've thought of some openings you may want to see. Smurfy Durfy, thanks for the 3 months. Chiz the Lad, 4 months. Welcome back, guys. Magnus Gambit. What's the Magnus Gambit? The last time you guys had an opening for me, it was the cow. And I already told you, I'm not playing the damn cow. I told you how to beat that opening. I am kind of expecting that, Darkbone. I'm prepared for that. The Magnus Gambit opening is the king and queen swap. Oh, my friends. I got news for you. And this may shock you. He was not the first one to do that. Are you gonna be okay? Are you good? Are you gonna be all right? I know. I hold on to someone. Don't fall over now. All right. We're going to start a game, guys. Let me know, based on what color pieces we get, what you'd like to see. Let's see here. Okay, we got the white pieces. What do we like? What do we like? Oof, Catalan. Joe Bava London. King's Indian attack. All right, let's start with knight f3. Someone suggested knight f3. I believe that was Etienne. Let's go with knight f3 to start. It's very flexible. I can still transpose to a lot of different openings. And the thing that I like most about knight f3 is that it wins a pawn by force. So that's why I've chosen knight f3. It's one of the best openings because of this. So I hope you guys are learning something. Everyone, make sure you're paying attention here. This is a very educational game that we're playing. We're going to learn a lot about how to play a game up a pawn. All right, e5 takes. We've literally won a pawn right out of the gate. Knight c6. Now, if I take and play e4, then after knight f6, we transpose to the Stafford, right? So, we should naturally play our knight back to f3 to make sure we don't transpose to the Stafford. We have to use the fact that we have an extra move here. Maybe our opponent was trying to trick us into the Stafford. We're not going to fall for that. We're not going to fall for that. Pawn to f5, probably another bad habit. So our opponent, unfortunately, has lost their center pawn on the second move, but also moving the f pawn. I don't like the move. You know, it opens up this diagonal. Usually your f pawn is a little bit tender to start off the game. I'm going to play d4, though. I can't really play e4. I need to stake some claim in the center. So I am going to play on to d4. Opens up my bishop. And I think the best medicine for this position would be getting the bishop out to one of these two squares. And then playing e3. And then getting this bishop out. So I've gone over quite a few things in... I mean, just our games that we've played thus far, up till now. And most of the time, you'll hear me saying very similar things. I mean, don't be moving your f-pawn. Don't be blundering center pawns. Do not be bringing your queen out as one of your first pieces. This is already a very bad sign. My opponent could improve tremendously just by like never pushing that f-pawn and leaving that queen at home until other pieces are developed. Then we might see knight f6, bishop e7, castle, which would set my opponent up for much more success than they are currently having. So I'm going to play bishop g5. I mean, looks like it gains some time. Attacking the queen, I mean, this is the best way to develop. You move a piece, attack a piece, especially of higher value, and the piece has to move, and then you can make your next developing move. So he plays queen d6. He's also blocking the bishop in with that move, so I don't think the move is that good. But he does have a threat. Queen b4 hits my king and hits the b2 pawn. So I still need an answer for queen b4. As much as I would love to say that queen d6 is just an awful move and I can just continue normally, I still need to address the fact that that my opponent has made a threat. So I'm probably gonna go with knight c3 here. It deals with that and it gets a piece out, so I feel like that's kind of the best of both worlds. c3 definitely deals with it, but you know, based on my opponent's last two moves, I don't think I want to play a slow move like c3. I want to get my knight in there quickly, which may be able to participate in some of the action. Stay with us, Johnny. He's gone down to one bar. Stay with us, Johnny. Don't quit on me now. Stay with us, buddy. Nice move. So my bishop going back this way doesn't look too appealing right now. But I'm actually slightly interested in playing a move like bishop d2. What I was really interested in was the queen going here. And then there might be a situation like that where the queen almost gets herself trapped. So I was actually thinking about something like that. In this case, I'm not too sure that that's actually going to happen. So bishop d2 or bishop c1, both seem like my options. Bishop to d2 gives up the d4 pawn, but then I think has some aggressive follow-up options. So I'll play the bishop d2 move. I think bishop c1 is also very fine move. Nothing wrong with bishop c1, but I'll play bishop d2, which allows him sort of back into the game a little bit from that perspective. But because of h6, a move like queen h5 check, there's not going to be g6 for him. So, you know, just as an example, maybe move like e4 after that. Okay, interesting that he does it now that my bishop has moved. Because now I can play a3. And even though it looks like I've blundered this pawn, I think that he's actually going to be in a tough spot here. So a3, queen b2, yes, we've blundered the pawn. But now I'm going to play a move which threatens to trap his queen. The queen looks like it's going to be trapped like this, but it's not. Right? Because the queen has b6. The queen also looks like it's going to be trapped like this. But it's not because queen a3. But surprisingly, both of those moves win on the spot. So if I play rook b1, queen takes a3 forced, knight b5, I'm hitting the queen and I'm hitting c7. And if he wants to play queen a5, it's covered. He wants to play queen d6, the knight's covering it. So he can't actually defend both of them. So he's going to lose the pawn and then the rook. Similarly, if I play rook a2 and he plays queen b6, I play knight to d5 and I hit the queen and I hit the pawn. The only square the queen can defend that from is a5, but as you can imagine, it's covered. So in all these cases, I'm just seeing issues for the black queen. This one, black gets an extra pawn and gets to save the queen, even though they're losing material there. The reason I like rook a2 a little bit better is because I think I also have an option to trap my opponent's queen still. So rook a2 is going to force the queen to b6. Knight b5 is going to force the queen to move again. The only squares that are really on are b5 and a6. But after queen b5 or queen a6, knight c7 doesn't just win the rook, it wins the queen now. So this move does a little bit better, I think, than rook to b1. Just because it might win more than the rook in the corner. Got to be very careful grabbing these pawns down here. If I had my pawn up on e3, by the way, then the queen would already be 100% trapped. But it's almost better that this square is safe, because that means that I can just win the queen outright. And it's like, if my pawn was there, queen b5 wouldn't be played. I would get the queen but lose a knight. Because the pawn is here, he feels safe playing queen b5, attacking my knight. But then he loses a whole queen. So it could work out against him here. But yeah, there's not really going to be any... And this is why I always say, one of the easiest things to just make you immediately a better player is just don't develop your queen. Don't move it so early. It's very simple. Everyone has this infatuation like, oh yeah, the queen's the strongest piece. I'm going to bring that piece out immediately. It's going to be my first piece developed. I'm going to bring my strongest piece out. It's like, no, there are much less valuable pieces on the board that are simply going to attack you, not let you do anything. You have to use that piece in conjunction with your other pieces. Can't use her on her own. So you really can. This is exactly what I expected to happen. This square is absolutely safe. And it attacks my knight. So like I said, because the pawn's not there on e3, that's a safe square. Well, it's not really safe. It's not really safe, I'm sorry to say. Knight c7, and I mean, this is already a pretty nasty fork, but knight takes b5, and there isn't much else to say. Black brought the queen out, and then went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves with the queen. 6 moves. And then lost it. Right? 6 queen moves. We've only played 12 moves. Half of them have been with the queen for my opponent. I mean, that's not good enough. That is not good enough. Let's save our piece. I didn't even realize that this opening has a name. I can't believe they even bothered to name it. So knight f3, e5 has a name. Do you want to know what the name of this opening is? It's the Ross Gambit. Ross Gambit. What an insult to everyone out there named Ross. Holy smokes. It's just like one of the worst things to be named after. Sorry, Ross. Do we have anyone named Ross watching right now? Just apologies on behalf of your opening. You know, there's one thing I've noticed about chess. Some of the worst openings are always named after individuals. Like the worst openings by the computer evaluation. All of the good openings are named after like places or countries. You know, right? Like the French, the London, the English. There's actually an opening called the Fred. Have you ever heard of it? The Fred. It's a terrible opening. And then you've got the Ross. Another awful opening. Then you've got the Jerome. One of the greatest openings ever. I mean, somehow these people got the short end of the stick. It's always an individual. Whenever it's a good opening, it's named after a conglomerate. Whenever it's a questionable opening, it's named after one guy. They're like, all right, this is your opening. You deal with it. I'm playing e4 here to get my other bishop out, and because, if the pawn takes, my knight will recapture and hit the bishop. Again, another little opening habit my opponent can develop is not to put the bishop on that square in front of the pawn. It's not a good feeling. It would be like me playing bishop e3. Then it kind of blocks my e-pawn. My other bishop can't develop. It's just not a good feeling. So these are some simple kind of habits that will improve my opponent's game. Now e5, and why is this fork happening? Because that bishop is there, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I just want to play, my bishop out, get castled here. It's a lot of material that my opponent's going to be down. A queen, now a piece as well. Keep in mind that if you ever fork somebody and then they pin your pawn, for the most part, you just unpinning yourself will reinstate the threat. So you'll still be winning a piece. So don't ever get the impression that rook e8 somehow saves your opponent in these situations or makes your threat invalid. Just invalidates it for one move. You play a move like that, and then you'll be winning a piece on the next move. But there are so many small things here. Like, obviously, e5 is not a good opening. I mean, you're just down a center pawn, clearly. But f5 is another just bad habit. I would much rather have seen my opponent, yes, you lost the pawn, so what? d5, take the center, right? Knight f6. Bring the knight out, get your bishop out, and castle. That would have set my opponent up for a much longer game and a much better game than the one he played. Instead, we see f5, and then we see the queen come out. A little bit too hasty. Right? A little bit too hasty. And then my opponent just plays queen move after queen move to the point where he just loses the entire queen. And that's not going to happen if the queen stays at home. I mean, it sounds obvious, but don't put yourself in a situation where things can go wrong. Things statistically go wrong when you bring your queen out early. That's why people don't do it. So this game was just a collection of very small things that can be fixed immediately, but you just need to be told. Don't move your f-pawn, right? Just play without moving your f-pawn as white or as black, right? When you're starting out at the very beginning, this is the most tender pawn, most tender square, most tender diagonal. You don't need to open it up to start off. So it's like, it's kind of nice to avoid. Then bringing their queen out. Do not bring your queen out early. As you can see, it just gets harassed. In this case, it got trapped and it got won for free. Very, very bad. And then the last part is, yeah, don't put your bishops out on these two squares and block your center pawns. You want your center pawns to move forward. Black's pawn wants to be here, or at least on d6, so that both bishops can develop. But yeah, you really don't want to block your center pawns like that, and because the bishop was there, it fell victim to yet another fork, another threat, and that's why my opponent lost so quickly. It seemed quick, at least, but I'm sure that the game would have been much better and much longer if he fixes those three things. So the good part about you know, being new at chess or just starting is that you're going to be doing so many things so obviously wrong that they're easy to fix. If you're a GM, it's very, very hard to improve your game because things aren't, it's not like a GM is just, oh, you're trading your bishop for your opponent's knight too much. Just don't do that. And then you'll be 100 points higher rated. It's like, no, that doesn't exist anymore. But if I tell 500 to not develop their queen until they've developed their knights and they've castled, that will improve them by 100 points. So it's, you know, it is a little bit easier to improve when you're starting out. So at least make the most of that. GG. GG. Path to Chosen Wisdom. Thank you for the $20. That's very kind. Magnus Gambit, you little guy. Wow. Am I the little guy? Or is Magnus the little guy? What a generous donation. $20. We'll be playing slightly more serious openings than that, so Path to Chosen Wisdom. I don't think I'll be essaying the Magnus Gambit. But thank you for the $20. I usually don't call out donations and subs just until after the rapid game. Just want to stick to the chess while we have a game underway, which is why I only got to it now. Laker Wannabe, thanks for the 23 months with Prime. And Sertman SC, 4 years. Sertman, 48 months. Thank you, dude. Welcome back. Maybe at some point, Victor, but I think for the most part, you know, that's not the best way to teach. It can be useful, but a little bit niche, and I think fair to say most people don't want to see that. And the people who say they do want to see it are especially the people who don't need to see it. If chat had a rating, what would it be? If chat had a rating, what would it be? If chat had a rating, or if like the collective chat was an entity that acted a certain way, then I think quite simply, the chat would be like a 400 level player that uses an engine. And do you know why that is? That's because everyone in chat is exactly that. A 400 player that uses an engine. Like, that's literally what you are. That's why it makes sense. It's the harsh truth. Chat is just a collection of awful moves, but then once in a while, there'll be like the best possible suggestion in the position. And there's only one type of person. Remember, we're generalizing the chat. We're putting you all together. There's only one type of person that's capable of the worst move every single time, and then the best move some of the time. And that's a 400 using an engine. So you guys are going to have to work on it. That's your image right now. I'm just saying, there's a lot of streamers out there and they all feel the same way. So that's the image that you're giving off. So you guys have something to work on, all right? You got to work on your public image. Because right now, that's what people think of you. Magna, thanks for the 19-month resub. You guys have something to improve on. Now, if you'd like to release a statement, you know, kind of taking responsibility for your image right now and that you guys are committed to making it better, I do have an agent I can put you guys in touch with. He recently has been working with Jamoran, so I think you guys may be able to work out a deal. He may be able to draft up something nice for you to use. I think it's time for another game. You'd like to check yourself into rehab? Salty rehab, Wild Hacks? We haven't even seen the result of the program. Don't you want to see the result first? This is like a this is like a drug that hasn't been tested on the market enough yet. You're willing to commit yourself into the program already? Wow. No, Salty is our test sample, Wild Hacks. He's our guinea pig. Obviously, the results are indicative of success so far, but at least give it the full week trial period. Salty will be fully evaluated this Saturday. We're going to have a session tomorrow checking in with Salty, and then Saturday will be a full week of Salty under the program, and then we will fully be able to see the results, how they affect, you know, Salty Clown mentally and physically. So I think that's the best time to judge. Chess rehab, exactly. Chess rehab. All right, let's try another game here. Thanks for the resubs, guys. Appreciate people following in the background as well. Following the channel. Let me know what opening you'd like to see. We got the black pieces here. And we see e4. All right, how are we going to respond? I'm going to respond with g6. It's a flexible opening. It may lead to a number of things. It could simply be a modern. It could be a Peerts. It could actually even turn in somehow to a King's Indian. It could even turn back into a Sicilian, right? It's one of the most flexible, maybe the most flexible moves on move 1 against e4. So we play g6. We see knight c3. Now, when I see knight c3, I already know that d4, c4 is not happening. So it's not very likely for something like this to end up in a King's Indian setup. But something like d4, f4, if I go for a King's Indian setup, then it'll kind of be like a Peerts at that point. So, okay, knight there. I think bishop g7 is the way to go to stay within the, I don't know, I guess the spirit of g6. But if you ask me, knight c3 is a little bit of an invitation to play the move c5. So I'm going to play bishop g7 because it's a very natural follow-up. Most people that play g6 want to just play bishop g7. But c5 makes a lot of sense because then we're back in a Sicilian, and I've gone for this, and white's playing a closed Sicilian. So I'm going to play bishop g7. Opponent has played knight to h3. Now, knight to h3 is certainly no knight f3, that's for sure. There's going to be a distinct lack of control in these central dark squares here, because that knight move is supposed to do exactly that. So, as tempting as it is to start by targeting the knight with a move like d6, pretty obvious move, I'm now going to make an important claim, and I'm going to play c5, because I think if I get knight c6, c5, I'm going to have the type of control over these dark squares that white will not be able to match. Because I've seen this, the knight goes here, it's like white's going to be controlling all the wrong squares. And these ones should be pretty weak here. So, pretty hard for me to refuse playing c5 now. Very important to control these squares. The knight is definitely going to want to arrive on c6. And this is another move that I would say is a move which is a little bit in the wrong direction here. So bishop b5, basically doing nothing. You almost never want to play like a bishop move to one of these squares when there's no knight in the way. Because what's going to happen is someone's going to play h3, a3, a6, h6, right? And your bishop's going to have to move again. So it's like, why did you put it there? So for example, here, I'm just going to ask the bishop the question. What are you doing? a6, right? Let's ask it. Bishop a4, and as we can already see, this question has an answer, but not one that white will appreciate. The bishop is getting trapped. We're already going to be up a piece right from the start. But I'm not playing a6 trying to get lucky that my opponent's going to hang a piece. No, a6 is a good move regardless. So that's always a good feeling. When you're making a move that you know is good anyway, and if it works out that, hey, you hit your trap that you wanted to hit, that's great. But if not, I was still happy to play a6. That's basically a free move for me. If my opponent played bishop c4 there after a6, right, and my opponent went backwards, then it's like my opponent could have played bishop c4 here, and it would be my turn. So why would I not want a whole extra a6 move for free? Only makes sense. Okay, we're going to take back. We just won a piece here. We're obviously in a good spot because we have an extra piece, but there's a reason why when you guys win an extra piece, you still have a 50-50 chance of losing the game. Like, I think a lot of people may watch me play lower rated players and see my opponents blundering a piece in the first 10 moves and say, perhaps out loud because you're so offended, oh my goodness, how come when I play against them, they never do this? You're missing the point. They do it against you. You just also do it. So either they are blundering, but you're just not taking advantage of it, or they're not blundering because you're blundering, or maybe you're both blundering. That's what's happening in your games. That's what's going on with you guys. They're still doing it against you. These are not anomalies. I'm not playing like the only 500s in the pool that blunder. They all blunder. But you guys blunder back. So being up a piece is not the end of the game. It doesn't mean GG, the game is over. It's a good start. It's probably the best start you can have, but it's not over yet. So white has done something else, which I've talked about on so many occasions. Move the queen. I just don't know why people keep doing this. What is my opponent most likely intending? Knight g5, right? If I had to guess. Maybe e5, but I doubt that. I think knight g5 and checkmate. As soon as knight there gets played, I probably want to develop my knight if I'm making the best possible move. And then the move e5 looks nasty. So if I'm looking at this position, I'm probably looking at knight c6 as a good looking move. Gets in the way of this diagonal, and it does get ready to play knight e5, which hits the queen, also guards my pawn, kind of does a lot of things at once. And there's other options against knight g5. Like I can play bishop f6, I can play f6, as bad as that looks, and the knight will literally have to go back to h3. So I'm not concerned that knight g5 is going to win the game or anything, but still, it's nice to have a move that you anticipate your opponent doing, just to be prepared. All right, d3. Honestly, not a bad move at all from my opponent here. I'm definitely going to take the opportunity to attack that queen with knight d4. This is why I say don't bring the queen out, because literally, what's the best move here? It's putting the queen back on the exact square it started on. How many people are really capable of doing that? Maybe the answer is a lot, but it comes with practice. To develop your queen and then realize you need to put it back where it started is not a good feeling at any level. It's the best move. It's the only move here. But, I mean, it's quite possible that we see white stubborn to keep the queen developed and play a move like queen e3. And that's exactly where big blunders happen. So while my opponent can be credited with finding queen d1 here, he should also be scolded for playing queen f3. So it's like, I give him a lot of credit for fixing his problem here. Queen d1 is the best move, and he played it. Very happy to see that. But why even bring the queen out? All that happened in the last couple moves is my opponent went here and then queen back, and then my knight just made it into the center. So obviously I've won the battle of the last two moves. All right, our pawn is being attacked, so I'll take this. major threat right now, so obviously this needs to be recaptured. I think both would be good. The move that looks the best here might be this one, but both are very good ideas. I think he's going to be most tempted to take with his queen, because that's the pieces that he's enjoyed moving the most so far. Now let's play d6. I've been talking about wanting to play this move to attack the knight pretty much the whole game, so I'll finally get a chance to do it. Remember, I do want to play knight f6, but at the moment, that would just drop my knight for free. So I may be intending to just move my knight back, bring this knight out, and castle. But for the moment, I'm most interested in trading, because I know that my opponent can't take with the queen because of that. So that will at least give me a nice weakened pawn structure in front of my opponent's king. So I'm going to keep it simple and just do that. E5 outposts. You're absolutely right, Lucas, that E5 does create a permanent outpost in the position. So E5 would actually be a tremendous move for that reason. Unfortunately, the outpost that you create, which is permanent, is on D5, and it would be a tremendous move for your opponent. So no, don't ever do that. Pawn takes H3, which is expected. Queen takes. Queen needed to cover C2. So again, credit to my opponent for, I'm assuming, seeing that. Maybe he didn't even see the queen could take, but still, you gotta give credit where credit's due. I think he's, despite the mistake early on with the bishop, for the most part, his last couple moves have made sense. I didn't like his queen move, but he's recovered, he's castled. I mean, these are all like very, very positive things. All right, for me, I think it's time to get my knight out of there, get my knight out, and castle. So I'm just gonna play knight back to c6. I could wait, you know, until we're attacked and then play knight in, which objectively I think is probably a better move, right? Just moving my queen somewhere in the meantime to develop it, like queen there. But I like keeping it simple, so I have an extra piece. I just want to get castled ASAP. Important to remember that d4 is not an outpost because the pawn can always show up and attack it. All right, queen to d5. Again, I think my opponent is just in that mood of moving the queen too much, because in the meantime, every single one of my pieces is able to get developed. And that is not a good feeling for him. So I'm going to play a move which I think guards the knight and hits the pawns, probably the most multi-purpose. My next move, knight f6, is going to hit his queen and develop my knight. So it's just a great feeling to be able to do everything with tempo. Right, so our opponent has gone queen f3, queen d1, queen d3, queen d5. Not sure if the queen's going to move again. Doesn't. And again, we can't take this pawn because of our knight, but that was never the goal. The goal was always just, hey, I've got another move with tempo. This is why you don't develop the queen so early. Right? My queen has only moved one square, and it's still pretty safe. If his queen was back on e2, it would be much tougher to attack. But queen way in the center of the board, it's ripe for being attacked. So knight f6, castle. That's all we're interested in. And we'll see what white wants to do. But again, another queen move is forced here. Okay, we see another queen move. Again, I have ways that I can attack this queen next turn, but I'm not gonna procrastinate my own good habits. Getting castled is the quickest way to just, you know, realize the advantage of an extra piece. If my king's in the center, my rook is not really participating. And then if the play continues, white's going to get all their pieces out. I'm still not castled. So it's like I'm playing down a rook because it's not part of the game. It's important to remember, if you have extra material, use it, right? Make sure you use all your pieces. No one's going to notice that you're up a knight if you're only using your queen. But people are really going to feel that you have an extra piece if you're using all of them. Okay, knight d5. This is sort of like an eyes closed capture moment, just because it's a trade. So I'm going to keep it real simple and just take it, like no questions asked. If you want to offer me a trade and I am up material already, plain and simple, I'll take your trade. That's it. Okay, knight operating in the center, and of course I'm choosing this square not only because it's central, but once again, it attacks the queen. That's a recurring motif. We're still eyeballing this pawn that queen needs to defend. We'll see if my opponent has been paying attention that he's actually guarding it, because I could see white playing a move like this or like this and just not understanding, oops, that pawn needed protection. Queen d4, another move. I know it's in the center of the board, but boy, does that walk into just about everything. You know, there's this interaction between queens and knights. It's like the worst square for a queen to be in relation to a knight is always one square diagonal from it. Always. So queen on f4 or on d4 would be the worst squares, according to that rule. And the reasoning is obvious, that the knight would then be one square away from making a one-move attack on the queen. And just as a principle, you want to minimize how easily the knight could reposition itself to bother your queen. So if those are the worst possible squares, what are the best possible squares? Technically, the best possible squares are these ones right here. 2 moves diagonal for the knight, because the knight takes the absolute longest, 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, no matter how you do it, in order to attack the queen. 4 moves. Queen d2, I'm literally 2 moves away. Queen d4, I'm maybe 1 move away. But queen c3 and queen g3, technically the most comfortable for the queen in relation to the knight. Now, obviously, queen c3 in this position has another reason that you wouldn't do it, because there's a bishop there, right? But queen g3, just to illustrate, if you're using that rule of where should the queen go in relation to a knight, queen g3 presents itself as a pretty good move, right? The knight doesn't have any squares to go that bother it. It also guards that pawn. So, that's one way to arrive at one of the best squares available for the queen. Another great square is queen e2. Queen e2, because it covers all the squares that the knight could want to go to. But queen e2 still sometimes vulnerable, because it's, in 3 moves it could be attacked. Well, 2 moves it could be attacked, 3 moves it could be taken. So the best squares are pretty much these 3. Now, the other interesting square is the one he chose, queen e4. You go right next to the knight, and the knight, once again, is 3 moves away from the queen. So this is just as good as queen e2. So really, when you think of a knight, and you think of where should your queen be in relation to it, the squares that I just indicated kind of present themselves. These 2 and these 2. And if I was white in that position, those would really be the only squares that I'm considering. Of course, you can move the queen just super far away, but I'm talking about if your queen gets attacked and you kind of want to remain in the vicinity, these are the only squares I'd bother calculating. He's gone queen e4. Unfortunately, queen e4 drops that pawn. He's chosen a very safe square for his queen, but he has dropped a pawn in the process. And this is why we put the queen here so long ago, right? We wanted to defend our knight, but also hit h3. And yes, knight f3 next is a big time threat. Big time. Because that forces the king here, and that's mate. So it can be prevented, but not that easily. White needs to play a very good move here. There are a few other tactical motifs to keep in mind. I mean, depending on where this queen moves, there might be queen g4 to fork the king and rook. And depending where these pieces go, knight f3 may also fork some material. So wait and see what he wants to do. Rook d3 is also off limits. What are some of the best moves for white here? I imagine this and this are probably up there. Yeah. I like this one because now when the king's in the corner, suddenly you can't quite deliver that mate with queen takes h2. So I like this one. What should we do? I think I'm probably going to target this bishop here because if I think of knight f3, I actually don't really see it working after king h1. I can desperately try to force the bishop away, but if my opponent's playing well, they'll bring the bishop back and I'm not actually delivering mate. So if you remember the tactical motifs that I was talking about last turn, as I was brainstorming for my next move, queen g4 is suddenly extremely attractive. Queen g4, the bishop can't block because of the queen, and the queen can't block because of the bishop. So queen g4 is going to force the king to move. But then I've got white's pieces in a little bit of a pin. So now after queen g4, all I need to do is attack this bishop with anything. g5, bishop h6, and it looks to me like we'll come pretty close to winning that piece because it just can't move. It's in a pin. So queen g4, neither piece can block, and it sets me up for just, I think, g5, just winning the piece. And this is off the back of knight f3, just not getting the job done anymore because of my opponent's good move, bishop f4. So I'm going to go with this check here. Quite possible we see either one of these moves as blunders, but if my opponent moves the king, then I think g5 is the most consistent. If I go bishop h6, maybe there's rook d4 to guard the piece, but if I go g5, then absolutely we are hitting the piece. It's pinned to the queen. We are winning it. Another good move by white, once again, by the way. King h1. g5, just using this tactic we just talked about. And it's unfortunate because my opponent's finding some pretty high quality defensive moves, but the only reason that it keeps looking worse and worse for him, even though he's finding best moves, is because he's just down a piece. When you're down a piece, everything is just gonna go wrong. None of the tactics are gonna work for you. You're gonna calculate something, but oh, that doesn't work. It's like, well, yeah, most things don't work when you're down a piece. It's hard to find that comeback shot that actually works for you, that brings you back into the game. So g5, I think, is a little annoying. There's not much he can do here. And he really has played some good defensive moves. It's just there were better attacking moves out there. Another very good move, like trying to tempt me into queen takes so that he saves his bishop. I'm not going to fall into that, and I'm probably just going to take his bishop for free. But again, this is just a great move, great attempt. I'll take the bishop. Queen takes back. I think for 522, I mean, we've seen people just dead lost in 10 moves. Although we've seen some blunders in this game, I think my opponent has been holding in there real strong. Very good game. Now, from our perspective, of course, I'm interested in a queen trade, right? That's that goes without saying. I'm up 2 pieces here, so any type of trades of equal value are good for me. Rooks, queen, any of those trades are exactly what I want. And now, I mean, how do we continue? These rooks probably want to make themselves known on the only 2 semi-open files, you know, that I own, because I want to attack some targets. This pawn currently hanging might be my next target. So we see him play b4. Again, pawn hunting will probably work out for me here. It also uncovers an attack on the rook. But just to make my point, I really want to make it clear that, like, just simple things like bringing rooks to semi-open files to attack pawns is a great place to start when you're trying to figure out what to do next. So I'm going to go here. It attacks this pawn. This move attacks that pawn, activates both my pieces with tempo, and then I can think about what to do next. Then I can use these pieces. But for now, with my rooks not participating, yes, I could use my knight and try to, like, you know, get in there, try to attack everything, make it work. But no, I think that's once again falling into the pattern of maybe moving your queen too much in the opening. You don't want to just, like, use one piece and try to wreak havoc in your opponent's position. You want to use everyone, like, have them work together. That's ideal. Okay, a4. Again, not a bad move at all. And yes, lots of different things to take, but I still think increasing the pressure is always a good thing to do. Okay, we'll take that. Now, finally, with all the, you know, all the pressure that I have in the position, I think it's finally time to start cashing in. Gotta start taking some material here. Ooh, a5. He's starting to get a little freaky on us. All right, I will take this pawn, which has been sitting there for a while. It's always been available, but that's exactly why I'm not in a rush to take it. It's always available. He has less pieces than me, only 2 of them. If I want to take something, I got 4 pieces. I can just gang up on it, right? That won't be difficult. All right, he's pushing this pawn. Of course, we could go corral it, but rook takes c2 is a nice move to play. Number 1, a1 is covered. So if he's pushing this pawn, there's nothing to stop me from just going behind it and taking it. If he ever puts his rook there, I got this long-range bishop that I'm not sure he's going to know about. And rook a1 not only proves he doesn't know about it, But it proves he doesn't realize he's about to get mated. GG. That bishop is sniping from a long way away. Good game, good game. Let's see. So what was the story of this game? Our opponent played very well. I was impressed. But, no, of course not without blunders. Would my opponent's game have been 10 times better if they didn't play knight h3? Honestly, yes. Because I saw knight h3 from my opponent, and then I saw a few blunders that just set my opponent behind for the entire game. But if that knight goes to f3 and white does the exact same thing, it's way better. And all that needs is a little reminder, like someone telling my opponent, hey, don't develop your knights, you know, to the side of the board. Always move them towards the middle. And that's enough to just fix that permanently. Now this move, again, don't develop your bishops to just random squares. They will get attacked by pawns. It's the same concept as moving your queen out too early. It's just going to get attacked by pieces that are lower value than it. So then you have to move because you don't want to lose your queen. Same thing here. You move your bishop there, I attack you. Well, now you have to move again. You're wasting your own time. And of course, we know that this is a mistake, because it loses the bishop. And already white's way behind. And instead of castling here, queen f3. Already, you know, not too great. Queen goes back to d1. Some really good moves here by white. Castling. White's playing really, really well, in my opinion. Too many queen moves, but ultimately, that's kind of it, right? The way that white lost the rest of this game is understandable. You're down a piece. There's, again, like I said, there's nothing you can do down a piece. If your opponent's playing well, you can't change the evaluation of the game, right? If your opponent blunders, you're there to take advantage of it, but this was just a very, very good game. Nothing you can do. You're just down two pieces. Hard to come back from that. Okay? So, I thought this was all decided in the opening. Knight h3, no good. Bishop b5, definitely no good. And then moving the queen way too many times. And those are all easy things to fix. Just tell someone like, hey, those are not things we do in the opening. Right? Have more discipline. Don't develop your queen that early. Knights go towards the middle. That's what I'm saying. When you're starting out, you have a lot of things you can improve on very, very easily, very quickly, in my opinion. So take advantage of it while you're there. These are like simple things that make a big impact, make a big difference. And remember, I already told you guys, chat is full of 400s using engines. If you are 400, this is a perfect advice for you. So pay attention. Pablo and Moreno. Thanks for the year, Pablo. Gackos, 53 months. Cheers, Gackos. Good to have you back. Mr. Sheen, 3 months. J3, 10 months. Both with Prime. And Pink Floyd. Vegas time, baby. Oh, God. Is your broomstick out, Pink Floyd? See you, Zide. No, 88. No. Wrong. You got the wrong idea, buddy. You got the wrong idea. Thank you, Jason Cassidy, for the gifted sub. Isolated Rook, 43-month resub. Thank you, Isolated Rook. Jay Cass, I just saw your message in Discord. Here, I'll just reply. Sure, we can roll it. Go J Cass. All right, just a little bit of learning. We have some good news to report. I saw Eric in the chat lurking as well. Go Eric. He's coming back today. He's back. He's back. He's getting back. I know you guys are literally dying for that to happen. It's been way too much Hambleton over the last 10 days. But there'll be some pretty long streams next couple days, Friday and Saturday. Eric's birthday, Big Dill's birthday. Lots to celebrate. We also have 2 sessions the next 2 days. Checking in with Salty Clown and his chest rehab program. Plus, we'll be continuing our series, our SlowBrah series, and maybe some more Bullet. I'm not sure. Lots to celebrate though. Next couple days will be busier. Regrettably, I'm not streaming much later tonight, so I'm gonna say goodnight, everyone. Just on for a little bit today. Good night indeed. Good night, good night. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for learning. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Eric will be back. Birthday energy. I hope you guys have some energy to celebrate. All right, take care, guys. And thanks for the support today.